Hi, and welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Everything People is brought to you by the good guys at the 6minutewebinar.com. And say hello to Giggles today.
I say, if you ever just don't want to hear me, you just mute me. It's like,
We've
one of
got
those days.
we've got a young lady on today, Manna Dabholkar, I think that's correctly. And I tell you, we've had her on before, but I tell you what, the show today is going to be one of our core TV shows. Tamara and I can use this show when we're, on vacation, if we, for a rerun, 3-day weekend, whatever, because her information is timeless.
Yeah.
Once you hear her, you will understand the why. We wanted to bring her back and have this to be one of our core shows. Tamara, I'm excited. How about you?
I am. I'm actually super excited to learn more about what's gone on since December when we had her last.
Mm-hmm.
And to also find out how is there anything new that we can do now that COVID's starting to release and it's going to be maybe easier to support her in her mission. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited to have a lovely visit with her. She's fascinating, brilliant woman.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Joshua T. Berglund, he's one of the, he's here on the 360 TV, has a TV show and all. He knows her very well. And he says, she is a modern day Mother Teresa. And in addition to that, what she does and places she goes, you may want to have Pharaoh's Army backing you up some of the places she has to go and what she does. And I'll let her share that. But I got to pay a little bill about the 6-minute webinar and a very, very dear friend of ours, Angel Marie Monicelli. Angel's going to be working with the E360 TV folks here with events, and we're very, very excited about that because she is a wonderful lady. She is Miss Energizer Bunny. You'll see what I mean. We'll be right back just after this brief message.
Hi, I'm Angel Marie Monicelli with Angel Marie Shines, and I had the pleasure, the honor to go through training for the 6-minute webinar. Oh my gosh, this webinar and how it's structured and how they teach it. Thank you, Speakers Pathway Coalition. Thank you, Don McGrath and the whole team for the 6-minute webinar, because you made it so simple, easy. And the way you lined it out with the outline, I can reproduce it. And I'm already getting the engagement. I'm getting people that are coming back that are saying, oh, I love this webinar that's so short, so to the point, and I love your products and what I'm selling, but then what I'm also, the services that I provide, and I can do any of this because I have the framework. So thank you so much to the whole team, because the 6-minute webinar totally rocks. Thank you.
And we're back, and we're so glad that Angel Marie was so kind to make that video for us, number one. Number two, we're so excited for her to be part of the E360 TV family.
Yeah.
Because, Tamara, the thing that I like the most and the thing that I really missed once I retired from the military after 31 years was that, I lost my military family. And you got to be connected. Yes. You got to be connected. And I know that you're very excited about what Angel can do for the event coordinators here and helping with the events.
Absolutely. She's just a powerhouse for sure.
Wonderful lady. Wonderful lady. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to let you pronounce Manna's last name as we invite her to the stage.
Oh, you're so mean.
Yeah, well,
we had this whole conversation about announcing. She is a beautiful. Is it Da? See, you've already got me. I don't want to even try because I'm afraid I'm going to mess it up so bad.
Well, I already mispronounced it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Do it again.
You were.
Do it again. You didn't mispronounce it, did you?
Dabholkar, I think. Dabholkar, I think that's close. She's laughing at me.
How about what's that? She's going to correct both of us very soon. Yeah. Why don't we just bring her in? She has too much to share. And I do not want to get distracted by her beautiful name. So.
Oh, yeah. And she's a beautiful lady, too. So you guys out there, you're in for a treat. So here she is.
Oh, my God. It's about 5 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
Just practicing my last name for the last 45 minutes.
I know. I
Oh
still
my
haven't got
God.
it right.
joined.
Is it Dabholkar? Is that how you say it?
Yes.
See, it's actually
There
not
you
that
go.
bad, but he had me all stressed out that I was going to do it. Talk about performance anxiety.
I just go with my first name. How about that?
Yeah.
It's actually a very beautiful name. What nationality is that?
My first name is Hebrew.
Okay,
Mm.
so is mine. Tamra is Hebrew, so I love that.
Yeah.
And the last name is?
It's Indian.
There you go. Says a lot about her spirit.
Oh yeah.
Thank
I
you.
love it.
Yeah.
So share with us what has changed since the last visit in December. I know it's like you said, every day has been like a year. There's so much going on all the time. And so if you could bring us up to speed over the last, couple years you've had since December? That
Just
would
a
be
million
awesome to hear.
So I think the last time I was here was December 25th.
Yes.
Yes, it was.
That's correct.
Yeah. And this is March, so 2.5 months. We are back in the field now in Mexico. So for the last 1 year, because of COVID, we were not able to make as many trips. But
Yes.
we did send out, as I mentioned, throughout 2020, we were shipping food out because we had to change the way we were looking at, what GIFT does. GIFT was never meant to be providing transitional aid or handouts in a way. We were always more preventive, more proactive as an organization. The goal of GIFT is to bring a hand up, not a handout. So we run programs like medical funds, school sponsorships, sports for solar, which is educating kids about solar lights, clean energy. But 2020 was a tough year for everyone. And I think it kind of shifted. We had to realign what we were doing with the need of the time, which was food for a lot of these communities. I was hearing stories about kids in Africa dying from starvation because a lot of these families, Tamra, they live off less than $1 a day. So for us, we can, our government was great. We did receive some amount of help, here in the US, but many countries received nothing. Especially the communities that we work with receive nothing, and they live off less than $1 a day. So we provided them with food and transitional aid so they can get through 2020. And now we are picking up in 2021 with the same programs that we did before. There are a couple of things that we're doing new. We did add a disaster aid delivery to GIFT. So anytime there's a big disaster that strikes, we provide disaster aid delivery. So the one that we're working on right now is Honduras. They had 2 hurricanes in November, and both the hurricanes destroyed parts of Mexico, El Salvador, and the worst hit was Honduras. So we've sent 5 containers of donations already. We have 2 more which are leaving this week or the next week. And the containers are filled with donations like baby products, clothes, shoes, food. Everything is going to these shelters where they have about 1 million people are displaced by the hurricanes. A lot of these children and families are still in the shelters. So that's the most current project that we are working on. Those containers will leave this upcoming week. We are working with the Honduran embassy here in California on that. We had a great meeting with the Ethiopian ambassador today because there's a conflict going on in Ethiopia that a lot of people in the US are not aware of these things. So there's a big war. It's a domestic civil unrest in Ethiopia, and UN wants to call it a genocide at this point. But the families are displaced, women are raped, the kids are in shelters. So we're trying to find a way to work with the embassy over here to once again send donations to Ethiopia for those kids and the women who are in the shelters at this point.
One of the things I love about what you do, because in addition to applying, being able to supply immediate needs, but your focus is long term on how to give them a hand up to be able to be,
Yes.
self-sufficient.
Absolutely.
And that is an amazing accomplishment there, because goodness, you, whenever you just, like here in the United States, for example, we've got decades of proof that welfare system really doesn't, bless anyone. Besides that, you rob them of their dignity. Everyone's got to have dignity and respect, and you're able to open that door and allow them to, stand on their own 2 feet and feel good about themselves. And so, young lady,
Yeah.
I got to salute you on that. I mean, that's
Thank
just,
you. I mean, we spoke about it briefly last time too. Gift came
right.
about from that observation. Like I've spent 15, 20 years in running nonprofits, and I was at the Red Cross before. And I feel most nonprofits are so reactive, just like human nature. We see
Right.
something, we see injustice, we see something's going wrong, and we want to react, reach out and help. How about take a step back and become more proactive so we can prevent it from happening in the first place? And that's what GIFT does, which is why most of the programs that we run are more sustainable. It's not about having these families rely on us for a lifetime. It's about giving them the toolkit, giving them the resources, whether it's, helping them with job creation or sports for solar or little things here and there. Well, it makes a big difference for these families.
And your website, ggiusa.org, the GGI stands for Gift Global Initiative. Is that
Yep.
correct?
Yes, GIFT Global Initiative.
Someone goes to when someone goes to the Gift Global Initiative, ggiusa.org, and they want to become involved. Obviously, you got a donation there for people to financially donate, but there's other ways they can help. How would you share that with us, please?
Yes, and one of the best ways to get involved, not just with GIFT, but with any organization, any nonprofit, would be to volunteer your time. The more you volunteer your time, you understand where the money goes, what are they doing with all the funds which have been raised. And when I was at the American Red Cross, I was volunteering for other organizations outside of Red Cross who were more involved in sex trafficking, rescuing victims of sex trafficking. And I didn't start off by just giving money. I started off by volunteering my time so I could understand the process, what's going on.
Yes.
And which also made me question why there's so much money that's been raised to stop sex trafficking, but it still exists and it's growing.
Yeah, right.
And you start questioning those things and you want to correct it. And the reason these things stay, and we raise billions of dollars every year for all kinds of causes, but the root is that everyone is so reactive. We got to be more proactive. We got to put more resources into prevention.
Right.
There are more kids who are not sex trafficking victims. There are more women who are not sex trafficked. How do we stop them from becoming victims? It should be a balanced approach. And I feel it's much easier for nonprofits to raise money when they're reactive, because humans react and they donate. So if I show you a child who's been abused, I can raise money quick. If I show you a child who is in school, looks healthy, I may not be able to raise money.
Right.
So which one is more important? None. Both are equally important, but the one who's in school and is looking healthy will probably have better, you don't need to provide other things like mental health or work on the scars that this other child will have, having gone through the experience of being trafficked and abused. So that's where our focus is, more on prevention and sustainable initiatives than just a handout.
Right. I tell you, Tamara, I know the last time that she was on, she just blew us away because of all the things that she does, the approach. Because we're used to, a hurricane come in, Red Cross goes, and everybody wants to respond, and which is a nice thing.
Yeah.
But that emotional roller coaster will only take you so far. It doesn't get the job done.
Well, it's also the initial impact. People feel it, hear about it, want to respond because they want to help. But then it starts to fizzle out of the media, and then people don't realize it's still going on.
Lebanon is a great example of that. When I was here last time, December 25th, we spoke about gift going to Lebanon after the blast.
Yes.
And the Lebanese Red Cross was in Lebanon at that point. But Lebanese Red Cross only brings transitional aid. There's something called reconstruction after a disaster. They don't do that. So once the news fizzles out, everyone's gone, but Beirut still needs help.
Yeah.
A lot of reconstruction left to do. Schools and colleges and hospitals are still in shambles, but there's not enough money coming in to do the reconstruction at this point. Which is also mindful donations. Be mindful.
Mhm.
If you have $100 to donate, split that
Right.
into two halves, so one goes into transitional aid but the other goes into prevention and reconstruction of any cause. It could be any cause.
Yes. Yeah, it's an intense people just don't realize the intensity doesn't go away just because it stops being promoted, and that's,
Yes.
I think there is a point where some, know it's still going on, but don't know how to get involved or what to do to make the problem. It feels bigger than they understand. Like there's things that we can all do about it. Like you said, there is so much awareness around sex trafficking and there's so much money being contributed to that space, but it still exists. And I feel like even, yes, they're getting more creative. I get that. But it is still very much like we all have to really stay vigilant to it and be mindful.
And shows like yours or even the media to a large extent can play such a big role in keeping these things active, because you see mental health is a great example again, that there are people like me and I know a lot of people who are working on mental health initiatives every day of their life, every single day. But unless someone famous talks about it, the media doesn't want to talk about it. You see, so they will take it up as long as there's TRP in it, and then it dies down, and the funding dies down because now no famous person is talking about mental health. I wish as humans, we would be more consistent with these things, where the media constantly devotes time to talking about mental health or whatever it is that that's
the trend
going on. The
trends.
Unfortunately, they only speak about it for 2 weeks until they get their revenue stream.
And you know what? I hate to say it, but a lot of us are very short bandwidth for attention span on certain topics. And I do personally feel like there should be a circuit. If there is a bandwidth of this, wouldn't it be great to know, you have a lot of topics you speak on. So maybe it's about, constantly getting different people speaking about it within the organization. I don't know how you promote too much about what you guys do, but getting different faces talking about those issues on different cycles. I don't know. Might be.
I mean, we do a lot of speaking. I myself speak. I'm going to be in the Middle East in May at speaking engagements. But it's the bigger platform is a TV. TV is the largest platform out there. You can be talking at events which have 50 people, but on TV you can reach millions of people at the same time. But sometimes channels they don't want to put you on because you're not famous, or it doesn't matter. It's not going to bring TRP. And if you really care about a cause, if you were at a leadership position and really cared about a cause, you would actually devote time into seeing who's actually doing the work, who understands it, who's an expert in it, and bring them on and devote some time. I mean, Fox News 11, I think it's Fox 11, does a small, 5 minutes every 2 weeks. There's a nonprofit called Boxer Rescue Los Angeles here in LA.
Oh, very cool.
Amazing work. They have been around for 50 years, Boxer Rescue. So they give them 5 minutes every 2 weeks or so to just bring on a dog that needs a house, a home.
You're right. Yes.
How amazing is that? Even 5 minutes a month on a topic that's important works. And
do you think
experts,
Do you think, now this is me being a bit of a devil's advocate here, but do you think a lot of that's because animals are an easier sell or an easier discussion? I hate to be desensitive, but people go, oh, sad puppy, and then they adopt the animal. Do you think it's more of the
thing, right? No, part of it is that animals are just an easier sell as well, but I believe that whoever decided to do that really cared about And
I agree.
and said that, yeah, because we do talk, like if you switch on any news media, they do talk about issues, right? They do talk about mental health, but they will talk about mental health if there's a Meghan Markle interview that just came up 2 weeks ago. She spoke about it, so now it's a trend.
Right.
Mental health, suicide prevention, but give it another month or so, it's going to die down. You may not
Exactly.
hear about it.
Yeah.
The boxer rescue piece is so important because it's on every month. It's their 5 minutes where they bring these dogs. And why can't we just do that about things like
Right. About each.
trafficking?
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree.
trafficking is such a big. We have a local human trafficking task force in LA, and I believe that every county in the United States has a task force for sex trafficking. I've never seen them on TV. I've never seen what the work they do. Amazing work.
Wow.
I mean, I've
Do
been
you-
to the headquarters many times. Like this task force does 24/7 work of keeping our kids safe. Why don't they get a time on any of the local news channels to come speak about it, about trafficking? How can you keep your kids safe? Never seen that.
That's
What
a
if they're?
brilliant.
Sorry.
That's it. I was just going to say that is absolutely brilliant what you said there, because I haven't even thought about that, but you're 100% correct on that. And as far as me and Tamara, we'd be glad to, have some of the,
Yeah.
the units on here. And I didn't even
Yeah.
think
Let's do
about
that for sure. I think that we
Yes.
have to do that. I was even just.
The previous sheriff of LA and even the current one they were very involved in this, and people don't understand how much work goes into, like, they have a room that monitors 24/7 all online activity where these people are going on apps or wherever to groom kids into sex trafficking. It's been busted constantly by our cops. So just giving them that kind of coverage on a local news network will help families. You'll be more educated about
So
how
true.
to keep your kids safe,
And you know what? Thinking about the way that we present the content, now this may sound funny, but going back to the whole dog concept, what if we shared with them how many were saved or rescued by this
Yeah.
form of structure? Because I almost feel like we talk about things that we cannot help or feel helpless with, gives us more of that, depressed state.
you
But
won't
if we
believe
talk
this.
about the
So,
success, yeah.
yeah, you won't believe this. So the reason I know about this, obviously, I volunteered time for Boxer Rescue, but the year before, GIF did a special needs event. So it was an event where we brought in all the special needs businesses, government agencies under one roof for the special needs community, because it's such an underserved community. There are things out there that they can use for the kids, but it's very scattered, and all these government agencies do not speak with each other. So the idea was to bring everyone together. Families can bring in, any families who have special needs, loved ones can bring in their loved ones, just come get information, speak. So Fox LA was doing the slot for Boxer Rescue, and there was a dog who was a special needs dog. And I had worked on the case when they were trying to rescue the dog. So I said, okay, so he is going on the show. How about we just make him the guest of honor for special needs event? So with that, we can combine and say, okay, he's going to be at the special needs event. Come on in. You can meet
Love
him,
it.
and then you get. So
Yes.
we were more creative about it, but the time slot was for Boxer Rescue, and it helped because
Okay.
we had a good turnout from that.
Yeah, I could see that. Interesting. Well, I think we should, Jim, I do think we need to start reaching out more. And I don't know if you're open to this. I could certainly take this on and just maybe formulate one day out of every month that, one episode that we focus on, charity awareness or, even just interviewing people who are in the trenches doing these actions like Manna is doing. Because I think it is so important to bring awareness around this, but also I want to celebrate the successes. We know that there are opportunities, but I would like people to know the impact it is making versus feeling like because I think unfortunately charities have gotten a bad rap, a lot of them. They don't know where the money's going, or they, just pour money on the issue and they're not getting invested. I feel like if we could kind of crack open that, maybe we can make an impact. And Manny, I would love to sit and talk with you a little bit more and pick your brain, see how we can actually support you better in bringing more awareness around this issue and do some things in a more aggressive way.
Because as you two ladies were talking, I was sitting over here taking notes, and I'm going to take a break because I'm got writer's cramp now, you know. But but I'm with you on that. I'm in step with you on that because goodness gracious, this show's about everyday people making a difference, and Manna is
Feeds right to what we
definitely
talk about.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
it really
when
is.
there was a conflict going on in Armenia. I know some really amazing Armenian lawyers, women lawyers, who came together and they did was it a telethon or something? They raised $50,000 within a couple of hours for Armenia.
Love it.
I mean, there's so
Love
many
it.
amazing people doing this kind of work, but I don't think there's enough coverage. We always want to cover stars. You know, someone who's famous, you want to make them more famous.
This
But
was the whole
then
point to our
platform-
show, though, is to highlight those people. So yeah, if you and I
Yeah.
can, even if it's just in, general, give me their information, I'll reach out. Whatever you want to do, I will be on it because I really want to. I really do want to spread that.
And also, too, I can, whenever I download the show and upload to YouTube, make the link, I can share that link with other hosts on other places to be able to say, hey, you need to get
Yes.
this young lady on there. And Manna, please, if you know someone that would like to be a guest of me and Tamara, just let us know.
Yeah.
Because we would be honored to have them, to be honest with you. We really would.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Excellent. So for you, sweetheart, what is give me a day in a life of what it's like to be in your shoes just on a random day. Just how does your day start? How does it unwind? Like it's very intense. I think people don't realize how much you accomplish in a day.
Yes. Well, I wake up really early. I wake up at 5. But we have been in the field a lot. So a day would be if you're going to Mexico, for instance, we leave at 6 a.m. in the morning. We get there at 10 a.m. We spend the entire day in Mexico running different programs, spending time with the kids. It's a slum right by the U.S.-Mexico border, and it's 10 minutes from here, from the U.S.-Mexico border. So it doesn't take 2 days to get there. You can make a day trip out of it and get a lot done. So typically we'll get there around 10 a.m., spend the entire day running different programs. We'll bring local hospitals into the slums so they can educate the women about birth control or, how to raise the kids healthy, disease. We also run pop-up schools. So during summertime when the schools are off, you'll see that a lot of these kids get picked by the cartel. So to keep them on track, we run pop-up schools where these are like tents and kids come in and we teach them like English or, some kind of vocational training that they can use. Just keep them more focused on the good things in life, so that they can get they
Joy.
have a lot of violence and a lot of crime around them. So to keep them focused on and show them that there's more outside the slum, there's a better world out there. So we'll do that, and by the time we come back, it's like 6 or 7. So that's a day in the field. If we are not in the field, it's a lot of speaking engagements. So we'll do shows like this. Today I was with the Ethiopian ambassador. We work with different embassies. So we set up those meetings. It's relationship building when we are not in the field. So today is a perfect day for that. I'm speaking with you guys. And just before here, I was at the Ethiopian embassy in LA, to see how we can partner with them to send the aid.
Right.
And then I also teach meditation classes twice, 2 days a week. So Tuesdays and Fridays are my meditation days. Entire day, I have one-on-one clients for mental health meditational work. I also teach at the Den. Den is a meditation studio in LA. So I teach mediumship meditation at Den twice a week. So that's my week.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. I tell you, I got it.
A lot too. I didn't put that in.
Yeah, I thought you was talking about a whole month there for a second.
Yeah. No, that's my week.
Yeah.
If I'm not traveling, that's my week.
Yeah.
But we will be in Honduras this month, and then we're going to the Middle East in May. So there's also a lot of travel involved.
Yeah. And you've been to some of these places, and several times they know you and all that. And I know when they see you come, as you shared with us on the last show, they, Manna's here, and her group's here, How does that make you feel when you see their faces?
Oh, that's success for us because we've seen church groups and other kinds of groups come in and dump donations in these areas, but that's like Christmas. It lasts a day.
Yeah.
Right, right.
There's no real bonding with the families.
Mhm.
Our work is so successful because there's real bonding. You know, even if you're not there, like right now we have volunteers in South Africa who are running weekly workshops for women, teaching them how to stitch. We have someone who reached out to me saying, "Oh, we want to do pop-up schools in South Africa for the kids because the schools are on." We
Mhm.
have someone in Sierra Leone taking care of 50 kids. All that is possible because there's real bonding between the core team here and the volunteers or whoever is running those programs. And that only comes if we spend time and invest in them, you know.
Mhm.
So yes, it's a real it feels success when you see a child come running to you and, oh, Mana's here, or Keith is here. Like they're so excited to see the team come in because they know it's not going to be just dump donations and leave. You can spend
Oh,
the day with them, understand what's going on, hear, listen,
yeah.
uh, work with them on things.
Yeah.
So there's a real bonding
Yeah, because
between these
you're part
communities.
of their family now.
Yes.
You're part of the extended family, you
Yeah.
know.
They will
It's
all
kind
try
of
to make you eat at home before you
oh,
leave. They all want to bring you home and feed you before you
yeah,
leave.
it
Yeah.
Tamara
Yeah, they want to. Yeah.
reminds me of that old proverb, you know, some people bring happiness by coming in the room and there's other people bring happiness or create happiness when they leave the room. And it's so important for, you know, to create such an environment where when they see you, it's pure joy and jubilee. That's something that money can't buy.
Yeah.
And that's what we're supposed to do in life is share our gifts and our talents and our abilities and to let others know that we care. That's
Hmm.
Yeah,
important in life.
and it's really, for these communities, it's a tough living. The life is extremely tough in that slum in Mexico. And when I know a 14-year-old, I know what's going to happen in a year's time. She's going to get married and she'll have two kids even before she's 20. I mean, that's how it's been for years. So it's important that we create a bonding where she looks up to me or someone else in the group and she says, I want to be like that. I don't want to have like three kids by the time I'm 20 and then I'm forced into prostitution. I don't want any of that. I want to go to school. I want to have a job. I want to be like Mana or someone else on the team. And
Mm,
that only comes from bonding because I'm not there all the time. I'm there
Hmm.
maybe once every 2 weeks. But if I don't have that kind of bonding, I can tell you that that child's gonna be like that just happened to someone I know, and it just broke our heart. I was like, oh my god, I knew it. It's because of COVID. We couldn't come here for an entire year. We show up
Oh
now.
yeah.
She is 14 and now she's married, and I'm like, oh my god, we lost a child to this.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Right. Right. Yeah.
yeah. That's the way it is in a lot of societies like that. People, you know, young girls get married so young, and I mean, my goodness gracious, they're still just young girls. I mean, goodness gracious, they hadn't had a chance yet, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and then people will, when I share about them, people will always come at you, like, why are you giving them food? You should be teaching them about birth control. I'm like, but you don't know what we do.
mhm.
Transitional aid is also important, but we do a lot more than just transitional aid. We actually do teach them about birth control. But this child, I met her when she's 14. So if you think she's going to listen to me like the very next day,
Right.
I mean, I have
There's
to.
no trust built. Yeah.
It's years of work where these kids
Yes.
feel like they have to ask you if, oh, I have a new boyfriend now, I'm 15 years old, is that, can I get married? And it's like, no, you don't get married at 15 because that's what they have seen before. They've seen their moms and their other friends and whoever, their aunties or whoever it is in their families getting married at 15 and having kids, and they feel like that's what they're supposed to do.
Mm.
So it takes time for an outsider group to come in and coach you and give you tools and resources to do better in life than that.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, because it's like a breath of fresh air coming in, and they're kind of like, wow, we didn't even know that existed.
Oh
Just to
yeah.
know there are other options other than just getting
Yeah,
married and having a family. You might actually be a talented, journalist, or maybe you're a nurturing healer and can
a
be a nurse. There's
scientist.
just to know
Yeah.
Yeah.
that there's so much more to life to offer them
Oh
outside
yeah.
their
Yeah, I
window
mean, I
scope.
remember the first time we took them to the World Trade Center in Tijuana.
Yeah.
That's where we had an office space, and we took all the kids to World Trade Center to show them a movie on urban agriculture, how to grow food at home.
Yes.
And the kids go into the World Trade Center in the building, and they didn't know that what elevators are. They're like, "What is this? How do you go up?" They didn't know what escalators were. They didn't know
Yeah.
motion sensor like flush, and they were
Wow.
flushing the toilet. I mean, these kids know nothing. They have lived. They were born and raised in the slum. They never went outside. All they see is crime and the cartel and drugs around them. So it's a very tough place for them to stay on track. And I give them, the kids who actually succeed from that, I give them so much props. It's so difficult to be
Yeah.
successful when you're in
Wow.
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You know, we don't even think about that, you know, things like, you know, flush toilets and escalators and elevators, and we
Running
just take it for
water, yeah.
granted. Yeah. I mean,
Absolutely.
and you take a kid that's never seen that and you go like, you know, just, you know, I can't imagine how it would hit them, but you just kind of like, there's so much more out there that I don't even know anything about that exists. So
I
much.
mean, we just found sponsorships for a couple of kids from South Africa, and some of them were walking. South Africa has a really bad public transportation system, so the kids don't. They have to walk to school, and they walk like 4 or 5 miles a day. And these kids, some of them are walking empty stomach, like they didn't have food in their bellies for days, and they would still
Right.
go to school and show up again. Like, you know, they do that walk every day. And someone reached out to me and they're like, these kids are going to school empty stomach because they don't have parents, they don't have mom, dad, you know, they're just like living with someone. So we found them sponsors who would, you know, so their food and everything is taken care of for the entire year. They can go to school tuition is paid. But it's just amazing how these kids can stay like so focused because they have nothing to lose. You know, they have nothing. So for them, it can only get better.
Yeah. Because I imagine that's a huge difference when you go over there when they don't have anything, and now they've got an opportunity, a door open to them, and now you're enabling them to be able to come out and be who they really are, using their God-given talents and abilities, and get excited about life.
Yep.
You know, our kids, you know, teenagers growing up, and then when I was the same way, and I was a teenager, it wasn't anything to do. That's because I was a little slow in between the ears and twice as dumb. But I mean, you know, I didn't appreciate what I had, and that's pitiful. It really is, because when you're
I think that comes with traveling too, Jim.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta step out of the United States to understand what we have here.
Yeah.
Like I look around and I see people complain and have so many negative things to say about US, and I'm like, you know what? I would never be in any other place but this country, because you travel once to another country and you'll come back with a great appreciation for what United States is.
Oh yeah.
What really is, yeah.
And also a better understanding of what happens in another country. You know, what poverty really means is that.
I remember when I came back from Vietnam in 1970, and I set foot off that airplane on American soil, and I thought, oh, this feels good. This feels really good to be home, to be back in this country.
I moved here about 14 years ago, and I mean, I have so much love and respect for United States that anytime someone brings up, oh, this is so bad, it's like, please, you have lived nowhere else but here. Like, you gotta go outside, just travel, I don't mean like vacation travel. Like, travel with a nonprofit that does work outside, because you'll get to see what real problems are. You know, your coffee not having sugar is not a problem at all. Or, you know, you're not getting your coffee on time is not a problem. Like, there's kids who are walking to school 5 miles a day on empty stomach. That's a real problem.
Yeah, I agree.
Amen.
And it's amazing. We don't realize that is still going on, even within your own neighborhoods, not just in foreign countries. We have so much work to do to take the blinders off and become aware of what is going on, even in your own little community. It's so important.
And which is why I said to you, you know, like, we need to, why isn't media giving more platform to the human trafficking task force? Because that really bothers me. Like, United States, especially border states like California, you know,
Arizona is huge.
Florida, those states are ripe with sex trafficking. And people think sex trafficking is 17, 18-year-old women. It's not. It's much younger kids. It's 4, 5, 6-year-old kids. And if our police force, if our police is doing, they have a structure in place where they're constantly working on it, it's important that they be given the platform to speak about it, a
Yes.
larger platform, so
Yes.
they can inform public of what's going on. I mean,
Yeah.
I was at an event about 2 years ago, and 2 or 3 years ago, and the ex sheriff of LA was speaking at it, and he mentioned, and I still have a video of that somewhere. He said that a pimp in Los Angeles can make somewhere between $850,000 to $1 million a year if he has 5 women trafficked. Why would, I mean, think about it. How much money is that? How are they making so much money by trafficking? And why would they let these women and kids go if there's so much money involved in it?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
Right.
drugs,
And that they would,
one
yeah.
time. With drugs,
And I'm
there's
sorry,
one
but
time.
this sounds
transaction.
terrible. It's not just males doing this to women. This is even
No.
women doing this to women. I just
Yeah.
want to kind of put that out there because
Mhm.
being in Arizona, I work a lot with this sex trafficking because we have these big events in the valley, and we are a hot spot for
Yeah.
sex trafficking.
Yeah.
And it's not just, men doing this to women or even just women getting assaulted. This is both, it's gender neutral. They're both getting
Oh
impacted.
yeah, absolutely,
It's
absolutely.
horrifying.
And parents need to understand that now sex trafficking has become online. So it's not,
Yes.
it's no longer like picking up a child at a Starbucks. It's mostly offer up, let go, all those apps where kids also
yeah.
sell and buy. It's so easy to find a child and say, okay, I have this chair at home, I'll give it to free. Don't tell your mom, come over, done. I mean, I've had those situations where, like, my nieces were in a situation where they were playing video games online, and there are these video games communities where kids are groomed into trafficking. They don't even know what's going on, and they pick on kids with low self-esteem, and they groom them. All these things people don't know if you're not involved in it. And I think these agencies, whether government agencies or nonprofits, need to be given more airtime to talk about it.
Absolutely. And ladies and gentlemen, you're watching this, and if you know of, a law enforcement agency or anyone like that wants to air time, wants to be on our show, just get in touch with me and Tamara here. You can just email us at Inspiration D360 TV. Our staff will get it to us because we want to get, good quality stories like this out, bring public awareness to it. Because imagine if you were of the 4 or 5-year-old kid, how that little kid feels to be kidnapped and be forced into the sexual industry like that, to be raped and used and abused. Think about that poor little kid. How frightening that is, and how horrible that is. I mean, I just don't have any words for it. I mean, my goodness. I mean, it's one of the worst. It's got to be one of the worst things that a person could do to a little kid. You're talking about a sick-minded, warped, evil-minded individual. And we need to help do our part to get the word out there. And, if we just save one kid, would that be worth it to you? Let's get it done. And back to you, young ladies there. I'll get off my soapbox here. But I mean, that's the way I feel,
It's absolutely accurate. And I think too, I've actually seen a lot of situations where some of the children, because they've started so young, they've been in it there are some who can be in it long enough where they start to feel that this is normal. And it's so important to understand that that's, they need to know how to be empowered versus, hurt.
Yeah.
So
And
we need to support them.
That's the whole argument about what do you call it? Sex trafficking and then voluntary prostitution. And it's like, you don't understand. A lot of these women and kids are groomed so young that at 18, they feel like they chose it.
Yes.
You see what I mean?
Yes.
So they feel like
exactly
that's
what I'm
the only
talking about.
knife. And we have to be so careful about legalizing all those things, because you don't want to lay out a red carpet for traffickers. I've spent so much time in this, Tamara. Like, my first experience rescuing a child was, we went into this, I think I shared this last time. We went into this brothel. It was overseas. I'm thinking this is about 20 years ago. So my understanding of sex trafficking is 17, 18-year-old women. We go in and we see 4, 5-year-old kids tied on tabletops, like dining tables. And they were tied with the hands and legs, and those kids were raped 6, 7 times a day. That child, when that child grows up and is 18, is going to believe that that's the life. That's how life is. So
Yeah.
then people talk about,
If they make it
when
to
you're
that age,
18,
unfortunately.
yeah, it's
I
like
mean, the
when you're
suicide rate
18.
is very high because you feel like meat. You don't feel like a human. And
Yes.
it's a very hard topic to talk about.
Yeah,
But
and which is why prevention is so important, even with sex trafficking. It's like there's so many children, and not just children from slums and shanty towns. These are
No.
kids in good families here in the
Yeah.
United, like in our backyard.
They
And
really are.
my nieces, both the parents are professionals. They're making good amount of money. They live in a very good area too. And sex trafficking can happen to anyone, anywhere. So you have to be, as a parent, you have to be aware of all the different ways: video games, these buying and selling apps, Facebook Marketplace, a lot of places where kids have been picked and groomed for trafficking.
And to also communicate with your children. I cannot stress enough, the best defense is, being an open, safe place for your children to be, so they can communicate and share from their heart what their experiences are. Because I feel like,
Yes.
you can helicopter and hover over and monitor, but you're pushing them more into the insecurities of not feeling
Yeah.
like they have a voice.
I mean, my
And that's
sister
what
did
they
a
call-
really great job with my
Yeah.
niece.
Yeah.
She experienced, she is only 10 years old, my niece, and she went through a situation. She was playing video games and someone tried to pick her up, groom her for months. And finally, she got so scared of this whole thing that she told my sister. She's like, she felt like she did something wrong. She's like, I felt like I was lying to my mom and dad. Like, she was so innocent about it. So we
Yeah.
made her write what happened, and I said, you know what, we'll send this to the White House so that you can teach other kids of what's happening.
How to.
So she wrote down her story, and we sent that because the White House, I don't know if it still exists under the new administration, but under Trump administration, they had a human trafficking task force at the White House under Ivanka Trump, and I have a friend who is a commissioner on that task force. So we sent a letter out to them so they can use it to educate other kids about, look, this is a child writing and sharing her experience of what happened.
Yeah. What a beautiful girl, and courageous for being able to share, and to have an aunt who's so wise to what to do with the information.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think a lot of us have experiences and we have no idea what the point was behind having it, let alone what to do with it once we've healed from it. So invaluable information to help others. What a great, and to know at the age of 10 to make such an impact on other people's lives. I hope it makes her feel really powerful.
I just wanted her to feel not guilty because it wasn't her fault. And she felt that. She felt like, oh, I lied to my mom. I didn't tell her, for so long. I just didn't know if they were going to come and kidnap her. Like, she was so scared of this, whoever this person was. My sister reported to the cops as well, but they can't do anything because there was no crime. It was just online grooming in a way.
Yeah.
Awareness and opportunity to learn.
Yeah.
I was sexually assaulted at a very early age, at the age of 5, and you do have a different belief and a different understanding about life and who's safe and who's not safe, and there's a level of, I brought it on myself. You feel ugly, you feel less than. There's just a deep story you carry, and it's very important to understand that when you have something like that happen, it's easy to fall into the trap of, I deserve it.
Yeah, even basic, abuse that kids go through at home. Like, I was abused as a child by a cousin. I've dealt with clients who have been abused as kids, and it's always been someone in the family, closest family. And for years, before you actually find a therapist or you open up, you feel like you did it as a child. It was your fault. It was your mistake.
Yes.
And that's what kids grow up with, the guilt.
Yeah.
And which holds them back from sharing or opening up. So it's important for parents to be completely open with their kids about it.
Absolutely.
Because once a kid feels like it's their fault and they brought it on themselves, that automatically brings in the shame. They don't want to admit that because that just creates more.
Yeah, I didn't share until I was 32 years old. I mean, it was 5 years old when it happened. So I carried that story about being ugly and stupid and, useless. That was a lot of
Wow.
wasted time. I
Yeah.
mean, it was important to go through. I learned a lot. That's why I love what I get to do now. But
Oh, yeah.
there's a lot of wasted, opportunity there. So
Yes.
it's important to recognize if your child is acting abruptly different all of a sudden, or is there eating issues, like you call them a picky eater all of a sudden that you never were before, but all of a sudden these are signs and indicators that something's
Also
off.
just believing them, like a lot of times I know
Yes.
when it happened with my sister, she went up to my mom and my mom didn't believe it because it was a family member. So she was like, what are you
Right.
saying? And it's like,
Yeah.
no, your child is not lying about it. A 5-year-old doesn't have the understanding of that kind of manipulation.
Yes.
So if
Yeah.
your child comes up to you and is trying to share something, believe them, trust them. Look
Believe
into
them
it.
and protect them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's an opportunity there. You don't have to there's so many options. It's just limitless.
Think about it, right?
Yeah.
Like for the longest time, people thought that rape only happens with women. We never thought that
Yes,
little
right.
boys could be abused. And people get, like, even now in a lot of countries that we work with, people are, what? It can happen to a boy? Yeah, of course it can. It happens a lot to boys.
It actually is. It's equal. It is
Yeah.
amazing. People don't realize that they just don't talk about it.
Yep.
And that's why a lot of us don't realize it's not a girl's crime or a girl's, secret. It's worldwide. It's, like I said, gender neutral. Does not matter.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. We got a comment from Linda Gold and it says, very informative. Linda Gold is my sister. Hello, Linda. How you doing? I'm behaving myself today just for you, young lady. But thank you, Linda, for your comment. You're right. It is very informative. And that's the purpose of this show, to be able to educate people about issues like this. And we're asking you for, if you know someone that you could really get on our show, that they could share their story about sex trafficking, the units that Manna mentioned earlier, please let us know. Just email us at inspiration@e360tv, and we will be glad to respond to them and get them scheduled. I'm looking for our address there to put it up here. I think it is. There we go. Just email us at inspiration@e360tv, because that's what this show's about getting good information out. And that's why you can see now why I said early on the first beginning of the show, get my tongue going here, is that this is going to be one of the core shows that we're going to have for our show here, as far as me and Tamara. But this show is also going to get circulated around to other hosts and say, hey, take a look at this show. You need to put this young lady on your show, and we need to get this just get it dominoing out there and get it going. So please help us.
Absolutely. So, Manna, share with us one of your favorite success stories that still sticks with you today. Things that that help you do the things you do. What motivates you?
Yeah, it's without a doubt, it's going to be Yamilet. So Yamilet, I met her when she was 2 years old, and she had brain cancer. Her dad had passed away. Her mom abandoned her and ran with a cartel member. So this 2-year-old baby, was raised by her grandma, is still raised by her grandma, and she had brain cancer. No money, Tijuana, lives in a slum, sleeps on the dirt ground. So we started working with the family, took care of her entire cancer treatment. She's 6 years old now, 7 years this year. She was declared cancer-free last year. And she, through the school sponsorship, she now has a sponsor. She's in school. She's healthy. She's great. She's
so exciting.
And that's my favorite success story, because she was one of the first kids we started working with in Mexico.
What a special feeling that is for you to be part of that journey.
Yeah,
her journey.
And at some point, her mom came back from the cartel. She was still with the Mexican cartel. She comes back because she wants the baby back. The baby was driving in a lot of donations, which is why she wanted the baby back.
Right, of course.
So we had to relocate the entire family, the grandma, the Yamilet and her older brother. We relocated them to another safer space to keep them away from the cartel and the mom. But
Wow.
she's gracious and wonderful.
Wow. And just think what a difference she's going to be able to make when she pays it, being able to pay it forward and help others. I mean,
Yeah.
my goodness
That
gracious.
ripple effect will be magnificent. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Oh,
just,
yeah.
her teacher just sent me her report, her progress report, and it's 10 out of 10, 10 out of on everything. And she was going through her annual MRI and blood work the day before the exams. So even with all that going on, she's so smart that she's first in her class, and I'm like, I mean, this child's going to be a winner. All she needed was that little push.
Full support.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
bless my
amazing.
heart.
Sometimes that's all it is, just a little support here and there and just a helping hand and even encouragement. Oh my goodness gracious. I mean, I think all of us, can say we could have used a little bit more encouragement in our lives, and because encouragement, the pat on the back sometimes, just telling someone they did a good job. Thank you. I mean, oh my goodness gracious. It means so much. And I had Dr. George Grant on the other week, and I had stopped by, popped him a message, and what I said there, I says, "Hello there, you handsome rascal. Hope you're having a good day. This Jim will catch you later." And he says, "Man, you really made my day." And he, we talked for a while, and he's just, just a super super nice guy. But the little things of just stopping by, sending someone a message, just say, "Hey, I'm thinking of you. Hope you have a nice day." Because so many times, we get cartoons, we get political junk, all this stuff that really doesn't really matter. It only matters when you communicate from your heart to theirs. That's what, that's what means something. It really does. And
Yeah.
I do that a lot, with, I'll send Tamara stuff, and of course, she knows I've got a warped sense of humor or lack of sense, and she's giggling at me already. I tell
Yep.
you, if I live to be 300, I don't think I'll ever get the level of respect of a real man, but that's okay. I'm used to it. I can live with it.
Oh, you're funny. You get into a lot of trouble. You do have great sense of humor.
Oh,
That's why it's
man,
fun to
I
work
tell
with
you.
you.
Well, thank you. It's an honor for me to work with you, young lady, because I'm always amazed at how much insight that you bring to the show. And how much information you share, because I mean, I hadn't got it. I mean, you got to have some rocks up here if you put a little weight in the head there, or something. But I mean, if you hadn't got it, you hadn't got it.
No,
You're
but
plenty,
you guys
plenty
are
smart
very,
enough.
it's very easy to speak with both of you because you guys, I feel like every time you have a guest on, you really grasp what that person's trying to say or does. And it's just a really easy conversation. It's just, I never feel like they will not understand what I do. I mean, even for the first time I was here, it never feels like, and that's a real talent. That's a real talent.
Well, thank you.
Thank
So you guys
you.
do a great job, definitely.
Because
Well, we are.
No, Tamara does a good job. I would say that.
Oh yeah, there you go. There you go.
That's not true. You're so
I can. Hey, I can live with that. I'm okay with that. I sold my ego on eBay, and I got my money's worth, 29 cents. You know what I mean? But realistically, Tamara and I, we realize that when we have a guest on here, they're coming from the heart, and our job is to just be able to provide the avenue to help them get their message out to others, because they're the stars. They really are. And that's why we're, listen to around the world. We're communicating. We get emails from around the world, and thank you so much for that. We just hope that we never, ever, ever let you folks out there down. And we'll do our very best to do that. And Tamara, she's got a choke chain on me. She'll yank my ankle every now and then. Would you behave?
All the way from Arizona to Texas.
Yep. That's a long chain.
That's a long chain. That's awesome. Well, Manna,
really
I'm
is.
so grateful for what you do. I actually went ahead and filled out my form to volunteer and be there. I want to work side by side with you. I just, whatever I can do to help support what you're doing. I am excited to actually, now that COVID's hopefully kind of starting to make its full season, so we can learn from what it needed to teach us and move forward so we can support the people we want to support. But I'm excited to work with you and support you in any way possible.
Thank you.
And in closing,
and a big part of that is sharing the information on social media. You know, just talk about it, post about what we are doing. That really helps, like, bring in more people and attention to the cause as well.
and man, I'd just like to say in closing, thank you so much for being here again. We really appreciate you, your message and all. And I got to salute you, young lady. You're my kind of person. You come from the heart. And we're going to share this video, this on YouTube with other hosts and things of this nature. Most importantly out there, ladies and gentlemen, if you know someone that this would really benefit, if you know a guest, please let us know. Most importantly, do not sit there and do nothing. I mean, we got to do, you know, whatever your calling is in life, your God-given talents, your beliefs, everything about who you are, what makes you feel good about doing something for somebody. So get it up, get it in gear, and get it done, okay? I'm Jim Grant. We'll see you next time. On behalf of Manna and Tamber, we thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. Remember to love yourself first, then you can love others, and be good to yourself. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.